I shouldn't have opened that door. If I had just gone back to bed, if I had ignored that feeling, my life would still make sense. But I didn't. And that's the problem. Because once you see something like that, you can't go back to not knowing. It was late. I remember the exact feeling more than the time. That strange, quiet tension that settles into a house when everyone's supposed to be asleep. Everything was still, too still, and that's what woke me up. Not a sound, a feeling. You ever get that? Like something is wrong, even when everything looks normal. I sat there for a minute, just listening. Nothing. No footsteps, no voices, just silence. But it didn't feel right. So I got up, and that's when I saw it. A light, coming from under her door. My name is Marcus. I'm 41, and I have a son, Ethan, 17. And until recently, I thought I knew him. Not perfectly, but enough. At least enough to know when something was wrong, or at least I thought I did. Ethan had always been quiet, not distant, just reserved. The kind of kid who didn't overshare, but didn't hide either. We had a rhythm, simple, comfortable. Dinner together, short conversations, the usual. Nothing dramatic, nothing broken, just normal life. But a few weeks before that night, something changed. Not suddenly, not in a way you could point at and say, that's the moment. It was slower than that, subtle, like something shifting just out of focus. He started staying in his room more, door closed, not unusual, but then locked. That part stuck with me because he had never done that before, not once. Then came the phone, always in his hand, always face down when I walked in, always quick to disappear when I got too close. I noticed it, of course I did, but I told myself the same thing everyone tells themselves. It's nothing, just a phase. Teenagers. But it didn't feel like nothing. It felt like something I wasn't seeing, and that feeling, it doesn't go away. It builds, quietly, until you can't ignore it anymore. That night, I couldn't ignore it. I stood in the hallway staring at the light under his door, not moving, just watching it, like it was going to tell me something. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again. Still nothing. That's when I reached for the handle, and right before I opened it, something in my head said, "Don't," but I did it anyway. He was sitting on his bed, phone in his hand, the light from the screen lighting up his face, and the second he saw me, he froze. Not surprised, not confused, just caught. "What are you doing up?" I asked. "Nothing. Too fast, too clean." I stepped closer. "Who are you talking to?" "No one." Same tone, same speed, like he had practiced it. "Let me see your phone." And that's when everything shifted. He didn't hesitate. He didn't explain. He just said, "No." That word hit harder than I expected, because it wasn't just defiance. It was protection. Like, whatever was on that phone mattered more than me knowing. And that's when I knew this wasn't nothing. The next day, I couldn't focus. At work, at home, anywhere. My mind kept going back to that moment, that no. The way he looked at me, like I wasn't supposed to see something. So I made a decision. One I didn't plan, one I didn't feel good about, but one I couldn't avoid. I waited until he left. Then I went into his room. Everything looked normal, too normal. Clean, organized, no signs of anything unusual, and somehow that made it worse. His laptop was on the desk, closed.
I stood there for a while, just staring at it, because I knew once I opened it, there was no going back. But I opened it anyway. It wasn't locked. That made things easier and worse. At first, nothing. School stuff, videos, normal things. Then I found it. A conversation, hidden, buried under a name that didn't mean anything. I clicked it, and everything changed. Messages, dozens, then hundreds. Long conversations, late nights, every night. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And the more I read, the worse it got. Because this wasn't just talking. This was something deeper, more intense, more personal. Then I saw the message, the one that made everything stop. I can't keep lying to him. I felt my chest tighten. Lying to who? To me? Another message. We said we wouldn't tell him. Not yet. Not yet? My hand started shaking, because suddenly this wasn't just about Ethan. This involved someone else, someone close, someone who knew me. And then the message that changed everything. He trusts me. That's the worst part. I stopped breathing for a second, because there are only a few people that sentence could apply to, and every single one of them was too close. That night, I didn't wait. I didn't think. I didn't plan. "Sit down," I said. He looked at me and immediately knew. "You went through my stuff." Not a question, a fact. Yes. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. "What is going on?" I asked. He didn't answer, not right away, just stared at the floor, then said something I wasn't ready for. "You shouldn't have seen that." My heart dropped. Seen what? He shook his head. "It's not that simple. Nothing ever is." "Then make it simple," I said. He took a deep breath, hands shaking, eyes unfocused. "It wasn't supposed to happen." That sentence again. Different person, same meaning, and somehow even worse. What wasn't? Silence. Then, I didn't plan it. That's when I knew, whatever this was, it had crossed the line. "Who is it?" I asked. He didn't answer, and that silence said more than words ever could. Because when something is harmless, you say it. When it's not, you hesitate. "You know him," he said quietly. Everything inside me went still.
"Say his name." He looked up, and for a moment, I saw something I'll never forget. Not just fear, not just guilt, but something else. Something like conflict. He told me not to tell you. That was it. That was the moment everything changed. Because now, it wasn't just a secret. It was something built, something hidden, something shared. "Say it," I said. And then he did. And just like that, everything I thought I understood about my life collapsed. Not loudly, not dramatically, but completely. Because the worst part about the truth isn't what it is, it's who it involves. The days after that didn't feel real. Nothing did. The house felt different. The silence felt heavier. Even the air felt wrong. Because once something like that exists, everything changes. I started remembering things, moments that didn't matter before. Now they did. Late conversations, small looks, things I ignored, things I missed. And that's when it hit me. The truth doesn't appear out of nowhere. It builds, slowly, quietly, right in front of you. And if you don't see it, it doesn't mean it isn't there. It just means you're not ready. I wish I could say I fixed it, that I handled it the right way, that there was some clear ending. But there isn't, because some things don't get resolved. They just stay.
and you learn to live with them, or you don't. Because sometimes the hardest part isn't finding out the truth. It's realizing you were never supposed to know it in the first place.